Do you want to have the type of faith that releases God's fullest blessings on your life? That's what we're going to talk about today on The Beat. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. My name is Allen Parr, and so today we are talking about how to increase your faith. And so our story comes from the book of Numbers chapter 13, where Moses sends out these 12 spies to explore this land that God had promised to give to the Israelites. And so 10 of them come back and say, man, this land is fortified, it's blocked in, the people there are like giants, and there's no way we can get in and take this land. But 2 of the 12 come back and say, look, man, this land is ours. God has promised it to us. We're going to go in and we're going to take it. And so today I want to share with you the secret to increasing your faith. And the first is to remember God's past faithfulness. God had done some amazing things for the nation of Israel. God opened up a Red Sea and allowed them to walk on dry land so they could escape their enemies. Whenever they were thirsty in the wilderness, He allowed water to come from a rock. Whenever their bodies grew, their clothes grew for 40 years. When their feet grew, their shoes grew. I mean, these were some amazing miracles that God had done. And if they had only remembered what God had done for them in their past, it would have given them the confidence to believe and trust God in their present. And so the next time your faith is tested and your back is up against the wall and you're questioning if God is going to come through for you or not, I want to encourage you to go back and look at all of the different times, great or small, that God has come through for you. And if God has done this in your past, it will give you the confidence to trust Him with your present and your future. The second thing that we need to do if we want to see our faith increase is to reject the thinking of negative people. Notice here in verse 32 that it says that these 10 spies spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land that they had explored. And so as a result, a whole nation of 2 million Jews were influenced to respond in fear rather than faith. Why? Because they allowed themselves to be influenced by the 10 spies who had no faith rather than the 2 that did. In the same way, if you surround yourself with people who are negative, people who consistently struggle to trust God, people who have very few testimonies of seeing God's power work in their lives, over time, their negative thinking will influence you to live and operate out of fear rather than faith, ultimately leading you to possibly miss out on something great, something major that God had intended to give you because you don't have enough faith to trust God to receive it. The third and final thing that we need to do if we want to see our faith increase is to recognize God's power. Notice here that the 10 negative spies said, we cannot attack these people because they are stronger than we are. But the 2 positive spies that actually had faith, they said, you know what, if the Lord is pleased with us, He will lead us and He will give us the land. When we fail to recognize and factor in God's power into our situation, whatever we're trusting Him for, our faith will always go up and down like a roller coaster. We'll always struggle with our faith because in many situations, our abilities, our resources, our finances, our hookups, our connections are not enough. And we will forget oftentimes that God is involved and invested in our lives. And as long as we remember that, we will remember that God has the power to do exceeding and abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think. So as a result, the Bible teaches that this generation of Israelites was not permitted to go into the promised land because they had no faith. And in the same way, as we now transition into a new season, there may be some blessings, there may be some breakthroughs that God wants to unleash and unlock in your life. And the only key that will unlock them is faith. If this video has encouraged you in any way, please pass it on to a friend. Second of all, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button above. And finally, I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. So please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Hey, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Beat.